Hello, everybody. This is the Podguyz podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday night. I'm Tony Kaz, followed by
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, we have the dreamer of dreams, the freshly cut of cutters.
He's got a haircut.
I know. The Ude Toilette of the big board, Les Sparky.
Sparky says hi there for the non-viewing audience out there on Spotify, Spreaker, and Deezer. Sparky he's sporting a new haircut right now, and yeah, he's looking pretty sharp right there.
He looks good. He looks better than me. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know how that happens. Guys, we do have a special guest today. You may not know him, but you will know him by the end of this show. He goes by the name Ulric Henry. Of course, he is an actor, a theater person.
A thespian, if you will.
A thespian. Thank you. I was thinking a theater person. I'm like, I know there's a special word for it. Thespian.
Tony got that thesaurus one day and never looked back.
Well, yeah, it's not like I go around with a label attached to my head and say, "You shall call me the Lord Thespian." Now,
ooh,
it's just like no.
I'll even go with martial arts expert.
Oh yeah.
Why did they make those? I always wondered why they always made those noises before time. And you can always tell the one that's always was going to win the fight because they'd be more exaggerated with the,
Well, there is an actual reason for that. I mean, the whole concept of exuberating extra air when you're fighting, it's just like there's three main reasons. One, it is intimidating. Two, it helps you to relax your muscles as you're engaging in combat. And three, there's something when you exhale and you're about to execute a strike, it actually makes it more powerful. Because I did karate for many years, and it does actually make your punches much more rock solid. And now I do Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as I explained to her.
Hey, so even if you're like mimicking the idea, you're still getting something out of it, then, right?
Literally, yes. There is a method to the madness, pretty much, or a fluidity to the fluent art, so to speak.
Nice.
So yeah.
Now, Ulric, to engage in our guests here, of course, please do share your theatrical and movie accompaniments in full detail, please. What was your favorite by far as short movies, regular movies, theater releases, things that you've done in your lifetime? I'm sure you have a favorite.
Oh, yeah, I do, without a doubt. So if I was going to name personally my favorite, I'll pick two. My two favorite portrayals in film that I've done was one film that was done by Mad Angel Films called Radiant Dark. I played a character called the Kothish Auctioneer. What a Kothish is in this fantasy world is basically a sort of like a metamorphic type of creature. They're like human, but they're like cat also. They're like cat hybrid humans, almost like werecats. And they sell, like magical creatures or other human beings off into slavery. So I basically was like a slave driver. I was a pirate / slave auctioneer. My character is, as you would imagine, quite evil. And it was a lot of fun to play. They put makeup on me, and I got to do a lot of hissing sounds like a cat.
Ooh.
When I portrayed the part. Vets. And it's just like I said.
Trying to wrap my mind around it real quick. Hold on now. Let me break this down real quick because I think I heard it. I think I heard every part of it correct. So cat hybrid humans are humans that are cat hybrids, correct?
Yeah. Pretty much
are like kind of like werecats, because once in a while they'll turn into a cat, and your cat character just happened to sell collections of humans from a pirate boat.
Yeah.
Yes. What the hell? And this got greenlit. I like how that got greenlit. We're just like, we want to tell the story of James Madison's life. It's like, well, hold on now. We got a cat story to tell you. Or these guys are Yeah, and they're
a cat story involving slavery.
Yeah, like what if I were to tell you? Yeah, they probably started with slavery. They're like, whoa, we're gonna need a couple cats in this first. Maybe the people
it's just
turning.
Yeah, not your ordinary pussy, but yeah, but but other than that, it's just like I in the scene that they showed where the slavery auction was going, I was selling an elf princess, pretty much. So in this universe, they would pretty much catch a very high price at that point. So
now, Ulric, here's a good question for you. Halfway through any movie you've ever done, right? Halfway through any movie, have you ever thought to yourself, is this a porno?
Well, considering the name of Mad Angel Films, it sounds like it could have some kind of very suggestive undertones.
Oh, yeah. Mad Vixen, hot erotica.
Yeah, some kind of like, it's like, do I have to like take my pants off in the next scene if this is
like you're halfway through a scene and then two people start banging in front of you and you're like, I mean, okay, hold on
a
now.
cat person. I mean, first of all, I'm not even like a werewolf. I'm like a cat. And like, that's already suggestive, the whole innuendo right there. And it's an elf princess. So, like, this sounds
is the cat prosthetics with like whiskers, or
what they did is that they used like this like coarse hair across my eyes, and they used some around like where my mouth is. And then they painted like part of my mouth so that it would look like cat, like basically a cat face. And then they sort of like kind of they paint bleached my face to look a little darker in some areas but lighter in others. And I did wear contacts. I wore like these emerald green contacts because my eyes are naturally brown, so they made them like these greenish emerald contacts to make it look like they were cat eyes, pretty much. And I wore like a hoodie and stuff, like it was like a medieval hood. Like I wore a hood so it would like conceal part of my face, and I had like a club and a whip. So I had weapons.
And of course, ears through the. Did it go through the head or no?
Done that. That would have been very cool if they had actually like given me like ears that pierced up through my head. Like that would have just sold. That would have sold it. And I was just like, because it's they can afford.
I'm an innovator, Ulric.
No, they can afford CGI effects. They can afford like some CGI effects here and there, but they can't afford decent prosthetics for your like, if you can explain that one to me, I don't know.
Like, oh no, I can explain it, no problem. This is what the movie looked like when they had money, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we're running out of money." And they played catch up time at the end of it.
Catch up.
Yeah. It's like they just it does happen with some low budgeted movies. And how many movies have you been in roughly? Like rough estimate, if you just wanted to throw out a quick number.
I would say about 18.
18 movies, yeah. Now that's a good amount of time. So I'm guessing, let me see here, 18 movies. So that means you're probably in the business between 12 to 20 years, right?
I wouldn't say 20 years. I started in the business. I started in 2014. That one I wasn't credited for, the first one that I ever did, and I'll explain to you why. It was, ironically enough, we started talking about martial arts. The very first thing I did was martial arts based. It was called Martialist. It was actually a documentary / movie, basically about real life masters and their students and how they're trying to embrace the move towards MMA and the slow decline of, traditional martial arts in mainstream media and in practice in general. So I was doing a lot of scenes that were like playing homages to old 70 films, like this one really cheesy film called Fist of Fear, Touch of Death, where they exploit the name of Bruce Lee. It's not about Bruce Lee, to be honest with you, but they use Bruce Lee a lot in the film. Fun movie to watch, but not really good. I mean, I ended up meeting in real life one of the actors who was in it, Fred Williamson. He's an absolute joy. I met him in Atlantic City, and that's where we were filming the movie, ironically enough, to begin with. So I ended up doing like 3 scenes in it. One where I'm like a hoodlum we're trying to get with this girl and we get our asses whooped. I was in 70s wardrobe and stuff, wearing a hat, wearing platform shoes, pretty much the whole get up.
Yeah.
And then that scene was done in about like, I would say like 6 hours it was filmed, and then it was completed. Then we ended up doing another scene on the beach where I ended up fighting my own sensei. My sensei was actually an actor earlier before he got out of film. He was in Toxic Avenger Part 2 and Part 3.
You know, you guys are already experienced with martial arts enough to the point where the choreography had to come very naturally. If not, then you might have also had extra ideas to bat around with each other. Is something like that go on, or?
Exactly. That's what happens. Like, there was an idea of how they had planned out the choreography between the martial artists. And then they said, well, do you have any input? And then they said, well, what if we do it this way? And then they said, oh, and the director said, okay, I like that. We'll go with that idea. And then it ended up panning out perfectly fine.
That made their day so easy. You already know he had nothing on that piece of paper, and he's like, "You guys have any ideas?"
Yeah.
Something to share, right?
We don't have to hire fight choreographers. We got the real deals, and they're already in my film, and they're pretty much doing it for pretty much nothing. So why not? And it's just like, okay, sure, no problem.
Ulric, I'm going to stop you right there because we have our own choreographer. We call him Sparky. He has a choreography of the visual arts. And Sparky, what do you have for us today? All right, it's a beautiful picture.
Oh my God.
Elf slaves for sale. Come buy them. Meow.
Okay, so now for the people that can't see what's going on, Sparky drew a very detailed picture of Ulric Henry's character from the Cat movie that was also a pirate and a slave salesman. I can't wrap my head around that enough.
Well,
there's a lot going on.
Well, it wasn't a cat film specifically. That was just a brief sequence in the film. It was only like 10 minutes long. But the thing is that it was basically about this celestial Vestal Virgin of Light who was stolen from a temple, and she was stolen by a thief. Obviously, it was a thief.
Vestal Virgin of Life was stolen.
Yeah, Vestal Virgin of Light was stolen from this temple.
Light.
Yeah, Light.
Yes.
Yeah, Light was stolen from this temple by this roguish thief. They end up going on this journey where they have to get to this wizard who's basically he's basically the one that holds the celestial temple.
All right. I got a Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings, and Labyrinth. A little bit of Labyrinth going on there.
A little Labyrinth going on. It's basically like playoffs of other fantasy films, pretty much.
And you know what? That's okay, because some people think that they come up with like a really great idea for a script, and they think that they're the only person to ever have thought something. And I always try to bring up once in a while the
pretentious producers.
Well, I always try to bring up. Remember the back in the day in England during the knights and shining armor and all that crap. Yeah. They had the bow and arrow, right? Remember that?
That's
okay. On the other side of the world, they also had the bow and arrow, and these two parties never met each other. So, like you could have two people out there with the same idea.
Well, the samurai, and then you have the Knights of England. I mean, pretty much very similar people. The samurai were considered virtually knights, and they pretty much did the same exact thing as English knights. They were very brigand. They were very briggish. I mean, they were not very nice people to begin with. Everybody said, oh, well, they had codes of honor and they were so loyal. No, if you actually read how they were in the beginning, they were assholes.
Yeah.
That's literally what they were. Sir Lancelot of asshole. Like, seriously, that's literally what it is. Sir Lancelot.
I figured that was the wordplay going to happen right now.
They probably lance the hole too once in a while. Who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if they did. But, they did some crazy things, and, people hold them up to the high heavens. Like, I mean, even if you look at some mythology, some of these heroes are held up to the high heavens. Half of them were assholes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh, Kevin's favorite up there is who founded America.
Oh God.
Listen. I can't portray enough of how much of a terrible person Christopher Colombo was. I'm not going to Latinize his name. As much. First of all, like, there's no way he was the first person that came over to America. Not even in the slightest.
If
He's
there
the
were
first
already
person.
people.
There was
If
already
there were already
people
people.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. How could you be the first one?
No, he wasn't. So I guaranteed that it was a now it's just a little bit of a conspiracy, it feels like, but it was around the time when the Catholicism throughout the Spanish were trying to push their religion throughout the whole entire world. Dude, they would build boats, right? Just and think about how long it takes to get on from one car to another state. That's like 5 hours. They take months worth of boats. You know, people are dying on the goddamn boats just to go over to an unknown land, right? And kill right when they got to the spot.
Kill, rape, pillage.
Like, oh my God, look at all these goodies. How are we going to get this from these people? Let's just knock them off. Let's whack them. You know, that's an easy way to get their goods.
I just got shot with a bow and arrow. Who shot me?
Yeah, for
This
real.
isn't even one of ours. What the
You're
fuck is
playing
going on
whack-a-mole.
here?
Why is there a stick with a piece of flint sticking out of my ass all of a sudden? Like,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that is the biggest spot to hit on a human, I guess, right? So Sparky's got
Kevin,
a little.
I was gonna say, you know who was there for Christopher Columbo's visit, right?
Who was there for Christopher?
Oh, wasn't
Columbus?
Sparky?
No.
Oh. Sparky, what do you got? What do you got? Come on.
I gotta see his work of art. Oh, here we go.
You
Oh.
stole the Virgin
We're
of
still talking
Light.
about that. We're going with we're going with the now. We're going with the pussy plot.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that. This is what we're gonna do.
Reads off, you stole the Virgin of Light. That is not what you told me last night, meow.
And literally,
Wait, is that Rihanna?
Well, here's the funny thing. My character tries to sell her off next in the scene. It's just like, okay, if these don't have slight innuendos attached to them, Vestal Virgin of Light.
Now, Ulric,
Sold.
Ulric, now, how do you, when you're reading a script, now I've read some scripts, been in some independent movies before, and as an actor, you don't say no. You can't say no because someone else will take your place, which, you know, like when people like, you know, people like yourself, like myself, like Tony, like Sparky, when we hear about Meghan Markle talking about how she didn't feel more like she felt like a bimbo on Deal or No Deal, my automatic thing is, well, then you should have given the role to somebody else. You know,
Anyone.
you should have just, yeah. So in that competitive type of field, when you are reading a script and you're just thinking to yourself, man, this is not going to work on any scale possible. But you go in there, you do it anyways. Have you ever read a script where you are like, this is so good, but then on the screen it just doesn't look right?
I'm glad you asked that question because that's going to bring me to the next part of my conversation, but I'll answer that part first.
Yeah.
So when I was reading for the Cothice Auctioneer, here's the funny part. I wasn't even supposed to have dialogue. My character was just one of his men because they had another actor in mind. This is like the second time. There's only been 2 instances where they've had a second actor in mind. And it always panned out. I ended up getting the lead part of that part. They had a different actor who wanted to play the Cothice Auctioneer. But I don't know, life and the universe would have its way with people. He was unable to do it. He just dropped out of the project. And then they went and they said, who's the next best actor in the group? Ulric was the next best option. So I was clearly number 2 on the list for that part. So they went and said, Ulric, or at least Matt Peters said to me, Ulric, I know this is last minute, but would you like to play the Cothice Auctioneer? I said, what happened to the other actor? He's like, oh, we don't have him now. I said, I see. So are you going to be able to learn these
your
lines?
gain, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
well, I mean, it's kind of an insult at the same time too, because now you're like second to the parade sort of thing.
yeah, I'm second to the parade. He's like, well, can you learn these lines in 5 days before the filming shoots? I said, yes, of course I can. I've, of course, was a little upset. I'm not going to tell him that, but, and even if he does see this, I'm like, all right, fine. He sees this. I like to be as transparent and honest as possible, even with people I like.
No, it's just
And
a
I
normal
went-
reaction too. It's a normal human reaction to, and anyone would know
It's
that.
nothing offensive. It's nothing that you're hating on, you know, as far as
No,
part of the
no,
movie.
I don't hate
It's
Matt
a
at
part
all.
of the business too.
It is. It's like no, I absolutely love Matt, and Matt is one of the most fun directors I worked with. The most professional director I worked with, though, was Christopher Keeler, and I will get on to that one. That's my first favorite part. I mean, Radiant Dark was my second favorite role I've done. I'll tell you my most favorite role in a moment. And when I read this, I was reading bet, and then there's this villager that says 250 shine. I say 250 shine for such a beautiful elf slave, but I had to hiss it like you know how a cat goes like, or like that. Like I have to like make it sound like I'm what is this called, a savannah cat basically.
Yeah, so basically kind of like a snake, but then like
but more feline. So I'm like 250 for such a beautiful elf slave, like that.
Yeah.
So it's like very sinister, and then I like go
now people can't see what you. I have to apologetically interrupt you there because what the viewing audience
on that read right there.
What the viewing audience can't see right there is they can hear your voice, but they can't see the inflection you're making with your eyes on portraying the character correctly.
Yeah.
And it's at first glance, it's always appreciated by a person like myself. I always appreciate when somebody can get into the same character like it's just flexing a muscle. So, but people, if you want to rewatch this on Facebook, check us out on Facebook. I know if you're listening to us on Spotify right now, you couldn't really see that, but I'm sorry, Ulric. Just wanted to, throw that out there.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like that was fun just because I got to do that. Just those lines alone. I mean, whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, just the idea of playing something that,
sinister and dark and.
Well, not only that, like it's an ego boost. If you could look at yourself in the situation and say, I'm the best in that scene, and I know it, then, and absolutely own it, where everybody else is there. Some people are on the downslope. Some people will never actually make that little upslope or what have you. But if you could just nail a scene down and know that it was hit perfectly from all angles, then that's what you're in it for. That's, even if it's just a one line or the second line or whatever. And sometimes I've been on sets before where they have to give people more lines. I was actually on the set of the movie. I'm not going to, spill out the movie, but I was supposed to be given more lines, but I got so drunk the night before they ended up just, they tried calling me on my phone too, but my phone was dead. It was one of those drunken nights where I wake up in the trunk of my car. Anyways, long story short, got down to the set and they're like, we tried calling you. I'm like, does anybody have an outlet? Like, sort of thing. But
it's like I'm past like the most random thing, like, and that could be a comedical scene right there. Oh, hey, by the way, any of you guys got an outlet? Like, oh, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
No,
you see the state I'm in?
Just
This
to
is
let
what
you
you're
know.
asking?
Just to let you know, Ulric, we've interviewed a ton of actors, actresses, writers, directors, filmmakers, all across the spectrum.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, where is your love? Is it for film? Is it for theater? Because you do have a very elegant look and appeal by the way that you voice things. So the way that you're very very professional, and of course, I'm thinking of the word. I think of the word chesty, but it's not chesty. It's just like more of a you know what I mean, for like theater people, where they're just like very.
Listen, I think Ulric, just by visuals of him, he can pull off several. I mean, you could pull off I guess you've already have with the sci-fi versions of movie, which there are a lot of sci-fi scripts out there. Or what? Jesus Christ! If I have to hear one more psychological thriller script, like holy fuck, man, how many psychological thriller scripts could there be out there? I think
I don't know, Kevin. You were in a spaghetti western where you kiss your sister.
I was not. Maybe you're.
Oh, that's Star Wars. That's right.
I was thinking that was your wet dreams there. Weird wet dreams.
It was. It was.
So spaghetti western. Yeah. Where Star Wars basically, but Ulric could probably pull off a role like a mafioso type, like a side thug on top of that idea. And I'm sure that you've been brought into those casting calls, and casting calls are kind of weird where you start looking around and you see 5 other people that also look like you. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Everybody, you have you have from the Ulric, and then you probably have like a fucking Fez from That 70s Show kind of look guy, where you're like, what the fuck is going on over there? And then you got some Keen and Peele looking motherfucker down the road where you're like, really? That's the spectrum right there, because you're somewhere in between of that idea where, but your portrayal of lines compared to both of those actors in a serious role can be believed more because of non-recognition, because Fez is always Fez from That 70s Show. Keen and Peele tried doing Twilight Zone, and way to fucking blow it, man. Way to blow it. Holy shit. Hey, Twilight Zone on CBS remake, you sucked terrible. Anyways.
But he tried his hardest. So it's you can only do it but so much with your life.
It's just like, no, but I can also do.
I wish they would have shown the deleted scenes from That 70s Show when Red walks down and Steven has a girl that's passed out he's been banging. And he's like, Steven, what did I tell you? No sexual assault in the basement.
At this point, things are starting to turn blue.
But like,
see, perfect for Fez.
Yeah, all you have to do is pretend like you are wearing turquoise. You sell cell phones that are flip phone cases inside of the mall, and you might be gay. Just hit that. Hit those 3 levels.
It's funny you should bring all these things up. I have played a mafia guy on stage, not in film, but on stage. It was called Sleeping with the Fish. You can actually look that up later from Darko Astromatus. It stars me and JJ Bullis, and
I played a mafia hitman, but never the mob boss.
I would love to see that though, because I'm big in gangster films.
You could hit it. You know what I'd really like to see, you playing a hitman, but just like, you see how your face is very calm right now, as if it's just another day very calm. Like you could have just literally got done eating a fucking donut sort of thing. And then you go out there and then you have to fucking do your job and shoot the person or strangle the hell out of them. And then you go straight from that. And then the camera catches you again, where it's just like, just another day, very relaxed, as if it didn't even phase your character. I think that you could pull that off, because I have to get into it, Tony. All right. I've checked out his YouTube reels. Okay. And we were talking about this before the show on the camera angle that just, my God, it pissed me off. Like it was the, you're wearing a suit, you're talking to a woman, and for some odd reason, your dialogue was in character with who you were being played. Now, could you tell us the name of that movie again, right offhand?
So the name of that movie was made in 2017. It was called Guardian Devil, and it stars me and Crystal Lavero. She's credited as Crystal Tasber. I must just give a shout out to Crystal Lavero. She is a phenomenal actress, in my opinion. Great. We had good chemistry. I would love to work with her again. She's right now in California as we speak. She's in Los Angeles. Nice. I would love to at some point get out there, try to get mainstream, try to work with her again. She's a good martial artist. I do martial arts. She's a good actress. I like to think of myself as a pretty competent actor. I would just love to. I mean, the thing is that I think I will do it. But the thing is this. I've been really shoved to the side by other people. She's always embraced me. She's always been a joy. She's always been a dear. She will always be a sweetheart to me as far as I'm concerned. I love her husband. I love her. They're wonderful people. But a lot of people have just been like, I think that this could use this and this could use that. Like, I'm always like second in the notch. It's just like, well, let's get John.
Do you think it's because of ethnicity, or do you think it's just a character look, or? I don't
know what it is. It's like I'm okay. I'll tell you right now about my background just a little bit, and then I'll go on to my favorite film role. So you get a more in-depth layer of who Ulric Henry is.
Go for it, my man.
So I was born February 29th, 1988. Yeah, I have to throw that out there so people know I'm a leap year, because it's a lot of people like to make jokes about that.
Wow.
So
Talk about being
okay.
skipped over. You're only on once every 4 years, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm one of the oldest looking babies.
He's a quarter
you've
of
ever
his
seen,
age.
with a baby face.
Wait. So how did your parents explain that to you when you were a kid? Where they, like, where they
They're
said,
like,
"All
oh,
right,
you don't
there,
get a
look."
birthday this year.
Like, no, they just said the 28th. They just celebrated it on the 28th. I didn't know
that's
any
cool.
better until I found out later. And it's like, well, then when you find it out, you're like, oh, this is kind of fucking disappointing.
They like surround you like that was the talk, where they're like, "Ulric, we need to talk to you about something." You're like, "Ooh, I'm finally gonna learn out what sex is." Ulric, your birthday.
I'm just like, oh no, that would have been a freaking treat. That would have been useful. Like, oh, you're gonna teach me something I can use later in life. No, we're gonna tell you that you're born on a special day. Oh, it's a holiday? No, it's a day that comes every 4 years. Well, this is just bollocks. That's just fucking bullshit. Why did you do this to me? Well, you just it just happened like that. Bullshit. You just did you popped me out on the wrong day, and you know it. But in a way,
They could have added
Couldn't
like
hold
one-
on for another one,
yeah.
could you?
in a way, it kind of just adds more to the character if you think about it. I used to hate a lot of things about myself. I used to hate my name. I used to hate the day I was born on. I used to hate the idea that I just didn't feel like I belonged. And I'll tell you about why I felt I didn't belong.
You have very much a Scandinavian name.
Ulric Henry
Exactly.
sounds like a folk, like a folk name, Just
Sounds like either like a Norse god name or like a Viking name. And it's
yeah, like
just
bum
yeah,
bum
yeah.
bum 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 bum. There once was a man named Ulric Henry. Bum 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 bum. And you're like,
oh, it's just like, no, but seriously.
Oh,
yeah, like it's a
just
tall tale. Like,
seriously.
hey, who's Paul Bunyan's friend over there? That's Ulric Henry.
he's Ulrich Henry.
Well, all right. What does he do? He hangs out with them. We don't really have a backstory for him, but that's
Yeah.
He makes skeleton necklaces.
I'm just the ethnic looking guy with the Scandinavian name that likes to have a beer with Paul Bunyan once in a while.
Perfect.
That's about it.
well, that's how
then I
casting
put-
that's how casting is. You know that, man. You get in there, they're like, we have a role for you, and you're like, oh shit. Well, what is the
What
character's
is it?
background? And they're like, well, he's a fucking half-breed human cat who sells slaves. You cool with that? By the way,
Perfect.
you don't get any dialogue till the other fucker drops out. If that's all right with you. So it's
Yeah,
a
for real.
honestly, Tony, it is a tougher climb from a perspective of
Yeah.
Ulric right here compared to anyone else doing that generic bullshit, right? So
Yeah.
Ulric, by the way, nailing that scene. If I can get back to that just for a second.
Yeah, sure.
That scene was fucking nailed to the ground. If anybody has YouTube, you want to look up Ulric Henry, Ulric, and then if you can't spell Henry, you can't operate your fucking phone, doesn't have a spell check. What's wrong with you? It'll fill in the blank for you. Go to the reels, and you're going to see him in a suit and a tie, and he is portraying he's portraying his character perfectly. And the dialogue he's got is going, but you're going to notice something is kind of weird. The camera angle looks like a
Great
damn
camera
7 or an this
like that. Yeah.
like why
Yeah.
yeah, like that weird camera angle is right there from far away without a boom mic on top of it. But if you listen closely, the dialogue given by Ulric in
It's like this.
Yeah. That looks about accurate. Yep. That's an accurate description.
so but even with all
It's like
that
a
going on,
flashback.
all that needed to happen was to zoom in. You go from up to here to up to here, and with his intensity on the actress, her name is Candace again, or is it
Crystal.
Crystal? Yeah, the intensity you
Crystal.
have, the intensity you have onto her when putting the dialogue out there. If you zoom in and you look close, it is perfectly done. Okay, perfectly done. So the absence of director, cameraman, editor, give a fuck. We're gonna also add in there give a fuck. Give a fuck was not there.
Yeah.
Couldn't be there.
Give a fuck wasn't on set that day.
I guess they weren't.
He
But
called
guys, if
that
you-
sick.
I honestly
Because he was
honestly
sick of the bullshit.
check out that intensity and then the confidence in the dialogue that was portrayed out there. I was like, man, this guy this guy got screwed over in this scene. It pissed me off. I had to press the space bar. That's why I swear to God, I called Tony up, right, just to talk to him about that scene. And he says, that's why I called up, right? He says, hey, he's like, I already sent you the email, right? So I said, I'll be right in. He said that you were already in there because I'm fucking fuming for you because I'm thinking to myself, man, are you serious? You got it. I don't know how many takes it took, but you got it. And all of it was just shot wrong as far as angle, preparation, maybe room size you can manipulate, but that was just that's seriously, Tony. That's why I did call you up. That was why I messed you up.
It's unfortunate, and you're right. I'm ethnically ambiguous. My dad was born in Guyana in 1933. He was born during a time when the Indian people were being sent over to South America and South Africa and just, different British colonies. My dad was of Anglo-Indian extraction. Basically, his father was British, of Irish ancestry, and his mother was of Punjabi ancestry. So I'm basically of Indian extraction and British extraction. On my mother's side, however, we get a nice cocktail mix of Caribbean Islander with Spanish ancestry, Portuguese ancestry, Scandinavian ancestry. Yeah, I do have a little Scandinavian, so my new name does fit fine, a little bit at least. Even like Irish and Welsh ancestry, some Scottish ancestry, and even some other Mediterranean ancestry. So like I've got and Native American, let's not forget them.
Which tribe you at there, bro? Which tribe you at?
I would say it's Shawnee, Cherokee, and Chippewa. The three.
I'm 1/3 Tuscaroran right here.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. They got the biggest fucking heads, dude. You all know how we're getting older and close to death is the size of the head. So
they
normally
start expanding.
You should see my grandfather looked like a damn tiki torch in that casket, right? Only 61 years old. But the biggest head on him when I was a kid, we all thought he was a monster when we were kids because holy shit, like he had the biggest fucking head. And and
the fact that he used to put his peace pipe out on your arm.
He'd smoked Pall Mall's non-filters and he'd put them out on his own arm when he couldn't find an ashtray because he was constantly a drunk. He was Irish. He's Irish, half Irish and half Tuscaroran. So that is a combination meant for alcoholism stereotypes right there, which he lived up to immediately.
And clearly a combination for an iron cast body. If you can do that shit, you could do just about anything. At that
hell yeah!
Well, Ulric,
that's some badass genetics.
Well, Ulric, with your parents being so well traveled, did you, when you were a kid, was that slightly inspirational to a degree, or was that more or less like driven down your throat where you said,
because I was going to go similar.
Hey, I don't want to make my bed today. They said, make your bed. We had to go on a boat and a plane and fucking, did they throw that in your area so much?
Well, I'll explain to you my childhood. My childhood was very interesting because I bounced between my mother taking care of me and my grandparents taking care of me. Basically, how this panned out is that my father was there, but there was a lot of abuse, unfortunately, going on, and it was quite unfortunate. He abused alcohol. He had a bad temper. He used to make complaints about how people viewed him, because when he came over to this country in the 60s, he came in 1968, and he was my age when he came to this country. When you're of a certain ethnic diaspora, people don't really know how to, especially in the 60s, people don't know what to think of you. Like, if he'd said he came from India, oh, he's Asian, he's from Asia. But because he came from Guyana, they treated him, they weren't going to treat the Indians any better anyway. They didn't treat anybody of color any better because he had the last name Henry. Oh, he must be African American. It's like, no, he's not. He just had a white father with the last name Henry. My grandfather's name, then my dad's father, it was James Alfred Henry. My grandmother's name was, get ready for this, it's a mouthful, Alice Bafia Jaman Singh.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's all.
You had me at Alice, and then we went to Wonderland right there.
Yeah.
Alice Bafia. That's a Singh. So that's let me see here. So that's Singh. That's is that tribal or is that just lineage?
Singh is normally a name that you find in like
Punjabi
the northern
Indian.
regions of India.
Yeah.
Like you'll find them in like
Because I know there's
Punjab
the I know there's like Surin Patel, and then there's they go by tribal names. And here in
Yeah.
America,
More
they said
Sikh.
tribal
More
names
Sikh.
are bullshit. That's your last name. Like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, like if an Italian name was too long for America, they said, well, you know,
Cut it down.
take away half the letters, and there you go. Have some fun. That's your
Yeah, that's what they did. That's what they did. They did when they literally botched his his mother's name up when he came to this country. Said, "What's your father's name?" James Alfred Henry. Okay, James Henry. What's your mother's name? Alice Singh. Okay.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Oh no.
And we're back.
Wait, there he is.
We got disconnected there. Sorry. Can you
We're
hear
good
me?
now.
All
Yep,
right.
go for it.
Yeah, and then they called her Alice Smith. I said, "What the fuck? That's like a mile
Yeah.
off. Like that
Damn,
thing."
that's not even close.
Oh, the hell
like,
if I could
literally, we had to
spell.
go-
It's like, dude, you don't have to spell. You just have to copy the name.
We had to go through family records just to find the real names. Her father's name was Jaman Maharaj Singh. Her mother's name was Somri, which is pretty easy. They didn't really give her a last name, so it's Somri Singh then pretty much. And then you've got like, because in Indian culture, they've got like in certain areas of India, because it varies from, tribes. Like in the south of India, in like the southern states like Tamil and Kerala and all these things, they have very long names, but they tend to like go by a certain lineage where they'll also use Sai in the front because they're like giving reverence to somebody. They're naming them after someone. But then when you get to like northern India, they have a lot of, influence from like Middle Eastern culture and stuff. So they'll like just call them like BB or like, that means like that's like wifey or something or wife. And they don't really too much focus on the last names. Even in Sikh culture, like women get the last name Koyar, which is Nikki Haley's originally name is Koyar, her surname. And then you'll get the men get the name Singh because Singh means lion. It means like, strong. They're lions. They're like kingly men. And that's pretty much the culture. It's just like, but it's a beautiful culture. I mean, like very diverse people. There's lots to learn. And that's another thing. Like if I could like play off of that, I wouldn't have no problem playing off with my Indian heritage. Because like maybe back in the old days that would have been an issue. Like, oh, you really, that's not really appealing. Like it's very appealing now. I'm gonna run with it.
Now, Ulric, you talked about, of course, many different ethnicities and backgrounds and cultures.
Yeah.
Have you embraced any of those cultures in your own life, your own personal life right now?
Yes,
Or
I love,
are you more Americanized as far as?
I'm American. I'm American. I'm American by heart, but I love exploring different cultures because I feel that way I can learn more about things when you understand other people. Like, right now there's this one martial arts film I'm psyched to see come out, along with John Wick 4.
Can't wait.
I gotta see John Wick 4. But Marco Zorro, who's a Chilean actor, he's in it with Keanu Reeves and Donnie Yen. He's doing his own movie that's also coming out in April called right after John Wick, after John Wick 4. It's called Fist of the Condor. And it's basically a love letter to Kung Fu movies, but the way he does it is just unique. It's like a Western. I'm like, I saw the trailer. Like, if you guys get a chance, go check it out.
This is the condor. It sounds. The title alone sounds very good. Like the condor, like the bird, right?
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. It's just like he's going and exploring an ancient art from the ancient Incan civilization called Rumi Maki. It's an ancient Incan martial art. But not only are they just doing that, they've got Taekwondo, they've got Kung Fu, they've got boxing, they've got Muay Thai, and they've got a new martial art. Well, not new, it's old, but a new martial art to Western society, Western media, Kalari Payatu. It's an Indian martial art. And I saw this guy fight with his friend, Eyal Meyer, who's like they're like the enemies in the film. That's what it looks like, or they might end up being friends at the end. I don't know what they're gonna do with the story. I'll watch it when it comes on Haya. But I was watching this. I'm like, this works. Like, this is just like aesthetically beautiful to watch. It's just like watching a kung fu movie. Just watching Calorie Payat, Rumi Maki, they're going back and forth fighting each other. It looks like a traditional kung fu standoff, and it's beautiful to look at. And I learned later that Calorie Payat actually is like, I think it's like the mother of martial arts in Asia, because I think Shaolin Kung Fu comes from Calorie Payat. I'm like, so
as
like,
long as something is visually like easy to watch, right? Where you know how you get into those Avenger movies and you're watching the fight scenes and there's like 80 different camera angles and you're thinking to yourself, give me a fucking break, guys. I get it. You didn't really want to fight, but visually, we were talking about typecasting earlier, and I'm looking at listen, you got a lot of spectrum, like I said, of roles that you played right here. You played an extra, and then you got the attorney director, Scott Wilkins. Remember that role?
Yes.
In Success right there. So that's an attorney right there. Now,
well, that was Guardian Devil.
Guardian Devil. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Then you you were a theater attendant there, but The Darkest Friendship that's in production right now. Supporting lead is offended director. Police officer supporting police officer director Darnell Banks, right? Dial Help,
yep.
Right?
Dial Help. Yep, I was in that.
Yeah.
That was fun to make too. Speaking of crime films, the one film that was just released, it's streaming now on one of the venues, is called Dark Web, directed by the wonderful Christopher Keeler, and starring just a bunch of talented people. I mean, they're unknowns, but they are very talented. Amber Gantz, who's in Georgia now, pursuing her acting career. Greta Vavolka, who's like a horror film queen now. I mean, she got to meet Caroline Munro. She's been in Tales of Dracula. She's been in a bunch of other.
I've seen this before. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at Unfriended Dark Web. That's not it. Am I right?
No, not the same thing. No, this is a film.
Down in feature films, Kevin.
I see.
Yeah, no, this is an indie film, and it
Makeup Girl features a woman has trouble with her makeup video, right?
Yeah, no, it's not the same thing. Like, it hasn't been put on IMDb yet, unfortunately, but it is streaming right now. So,
if
I could if I can send you guys the link.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's also on my Facebook page. I can send you the link so you know what to look for. I play a very large part in that one. My character is called Charles Davis, and basically my character's not bad, but he's not good either. He's what you call
an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's what you call he's like a misplaced anti-hero, so to speak. He's like that kind of guy. He wants to get out of trouble, but at the same time, he wants to do the right thing.
I say that about Sparky all the time.
Huh?
I say that about Sparky all the time.
And it's like my character is I'm basically pushed around in the movie. Like, I'm a lackey. So what my role is that like I'm working for the bad guys, but my character at the same time doesn't agree with everything they're doing. Like my stepmother, who is played by Amber Gantz, she's a beautiful young woman. She's a redhead young actress, very talented. She plays my stepmother, and she's practically like 5 years younger than me. And it's like, my dad, who's a much older man, marries this girl, and that makes me feel like shit. It's just like, mom's not even cold in the grave, and you're already going off to some, hot dish number, some hot number dish, and it's just like
the temperature change there. Mom's not even cold in the grave, and you're going out with some hot dish number. Damn you, room temperature water.
Yeah, we need to cool you down, Dad. Come on, it's time for that ice bath.
It's like, was this writer watching the Weather Channel when he was fucking writing this?
No, seriously. But no, seriously, the plot twist in this is that the guys who were doing business with my father, he was a bank owner, basically. He had his own private bank branch. What ended up happening is that they were laundering fake money, and they wanted him to come in on it. And when he refused, they knocked him off. Pretty much, they killed him. And my character has two problems mainly. I gamble, and I drink. But I work for a pharmaceutical firm, so that doesn't bode very well for my character already. So my character already looks like a jerk a little bit. And what do? My dad can't bail me out. They killed him off. So what do? I join in with the bad guys. That's my ticket out. But unfortunately, I get arrested anyway at the end, and I have to spill the beans on everyone.
Woo!
And yeah.
Ulric,
so
have you ever?
But that is the way my character was written, though. I was the bad guys wanted to kill me off. They said, Charles has become a liability now. We're gonna have to get rid of him. And he's like, well, what about Mrs. Davis? My mother-in-law, my stepmother. He's like, I think it's time for a little family reunion. I'm like, that's a dark line right there. It's
There you go.
It was this movie. Won 2 awards in California, mind you. It won for Best Cinematography and Best Lead Actor, Christopher Keeler, who plays the lead part, Stuart Terrell. I have nothing bad to say about Christopher. And you wanted to know about my future projects? I will currently be involved in a sequel to this, but I'm playing a completely different character. I'm playing a government agent in the next one. So I get a bigger role this time around.
I can see that. I can see that.
I'm just
do you ever see yourself getting typecast at all, Ulric, or no?
I've been typecasted as a cop. I've been typecasted as a mobster. I've been typecasted as like a bad guy. There's very few times I've played a hero. Very few times. I played a hero in it's more like an American. Yeah, it's more like an American hero. And it was a comedy. It was called what is it called?
Did you play a hero and anti-hero?
I did not. I played. Oh, that's good that you brought that one up too. Yeah, that one. I did not play a hero in that one. I played a very nasty businessman who got his comeuppance to him pretty much, and I get burned alive pretty much in that one.
Nice.
So we get to use some special effects on me. I get burned alive, and I will tell you, when I filmed that scene, it was a little bit stifling. They used real fire in the foreground. They used real smoke because they used.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think the internet cut out.
Damn you, internet.
Damn you, internet.
Not
Damn
again.
you.
But if you take notice to his face that's frozen right there, right? And this is a real thing. He does have, see how it's frozen? If you zoom in on it, right? That reaction that he's got on the frozen screen right now is a naturalistic way to speak and deliver lines. Very photogenic all around. I mean, this guy, this guy could be very good, Tony. I mean,
yeah.
No, seriously, he could be top tier, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
If he just finds one person that knows how to work a fucking camera right,
that'd be great.
Oh my God, dude, I swear to God, that's why I called you. I was like, yo, I got to call Tony on this one. And you're like, yo, we're already here. I'm like, oh, fuck, what time is it? Because
it's already 10 o'clock, buddy.
You did want to get in onto the big stories of the Podguyz podcast.
I did. Do we
Facebook
have enough time?
group.
Do you want to just jump into one or two?
Let's jump into the most famous one that you threw, and we'll even do it again next week. We can throw
whatever.
this.
We always have time for more stories.
This story is outstanding right now. So it's your story, Tony. You lead off on it because holy shit. I had to read it over and over and over again because it makes you think twice about going out and eating anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
Fucking seriously, I could not have let into that. Plenty of time there, Tony.
I had to think about where you were going to go with this. And then I'm like, oh shit. Ulric's coming back. Hold on 1 second.
Coming right back.
Yeah.
Ulric.
Hold on.
He's connecting the audio.
Yeah, it's connecting the audio.
Hold on.
Ulric, if you can hear us, we're going to cut into a little bit
of thumbs up.
No, wait, there it is.
What happened?
Ulric. Holy crap. On your frozen face, right? Believe it or not, I had to comment about it. Even while your face was frozen there on the screen, I said, see, Tony, look at that. Even if you zoom in on this angle alone, on this zoom in angle alone, and then like from the offshoot, your fucking expression on your face is giving perfect dialogue to the expression of explanation. Okay. So I just told Tony, I said, if somebody's got to get a hold of this guy, right? Just a person that has a good director and a good cameraman and a fucking astounding editor, and they'll be able to make you a goddamn star overnight. I'm serious. You got dude, he's got like the perfect expressions going on right there. And he's just fucking naturally talking. You give him somebody that actually knows how to write a script too, with dialogue that's going to fit him.
Oh God,
not even that's going to fit him. Yeah. Fucker pulls off a cat script where he's a pirate cat. I mean, that if you can adapt to that script while going from 0 dialogue to, hey, by the way, now you got to learn how to talk like a half-breed.
Yeah, now you get 53 lines.
Sells fucking pirate slaves, or I don't know, man. But no, there's so much potential there. You're what, born in '88, so you're like mid-30s, so you're at that precipice right now where it's like do or die sort of thing, because you don't want to hit that 40-year-old wall, and and then you get the aging process in there. Even though you don't have any age to you, you've probably looked that way since the age of 26, 27 years old anyways, right?
Yeah, I haven't changed in the last 10 years. I looked at an old ID that I had to get my ID replaced and or upgraded, and I looked at a picture that they had taken of me in 2018. It was the same exact picture they used of me in 2013. I'm like, they didn't even bother to take a new picture. And then I took my new ID.
That's New York for you too. Like,
Put it right
looks almost the same.
I put it right next to my old ID. I know what year that was taken. It was 2013. And then I looked at 2023. And I showed it to my wife. I said, "You know something? I just realized something. My hair's shorter in this picture. I haven't changed. I might have a little gray here, but
Wait, Ulric, are you part of the Illuminati?
No.
Oh, all right.
No.
Well, that's the thing. You have to basically stay in a certain range. Stay between 25 to 40.
I mean,
stay in that range.
I've drank, I've smoked. I mean, I've eaten shitty. I've never aged. Just never aged. I mean, I'm exercising now. I mean, I've been exercising for years, but I'm now.
Well, martial arts is probably keeping you pretty fit.
Oh yeah, and lifting weights too. I'm getting into better shape as we speak now, and it's just like it's probably going to just enhance everything.
It's not like you. Well, it's not like you started out by saying, I've been doing nothing but crystal meth, morning, afternoon.
I mean, look at when he started the show and look at where he is now.
We've aged you.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just like
do we have to give him the Kevin Neary epitome question of his life, like where he is right now, the epitome of his life on this show?
I think
Kevin, you need to ask the question.
This is the question, Ulric. So you've done plenty of movies and have plenty of roles. Would you consider this right now your peak?
Honestly, just the mere fact that I'm on this show right now, I never thought I'd be interviewed about doing theater or films or shorts. I never thought I would even be even if it's like now, at this moment, at this rotating moment in time, right here now, as we speaking, as words are leaving my mouth, I could have never even believed that I would even do more than one movie. I did Marshalless. The footage got lost, unfortunately. Fine. They ended up eventually putting it on IMDb. They got a different director. Fine. I don't regret it. I had fun working on it. But my first official IMDb I was credited for was in Brackish, another Mad Angels film, where I play a zombie. It's a horror film. I play a zombie. That was my first official part on IMDb. No lines, nothing. Just playing a supernatural creature, pretty much.
That was the part of that was like a period of time where you couldn't not do a zombie movie.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's just something I had to do. And I mean, I was doing a play at the same time I did this. I was in a college, two college plays. I did A Visit to a Small Planet, where I played Paul Laurent, which was the Secretary General. And then I played in a stage adaptation of The Twilight Zone, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, as Les Goodman. And that part I really
that's a perfect spot for you right there, as Les Goodman. No, that's a perfect spot for you. I know that exact episode, and that's a perfect spot for you, honestly. Now the thing about doing
Very
plays
ac-
compared to movies is like plays. It's kind of like actors are talking through each other, where
Yeah.
you're not even caring about them. Like something like. Go ahead, Tony. You're
Barry
poking me some.
Atwater. Barry Atwater was phenomenal in that part. I mean, he later went on to go play Serac, the father of the Vulcans, if I'm not mistaken, on Star Trek.
You are correct, sir.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
great actor. I mean, and then you had Claude Akins in it. I mean, like what more could you ask for? These were top-notch actors in this story. But then you have college students like what I was at myself at the time. I was an older college student. I was like, these were 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and I'm 27. So, I always came to the party late. It's just like, maybe the universe works in funny ways. Maybe I'm just meant to.
Ulric, did you go to college for theater, or did you majored in theater, right?
Okay, here's an interesting story about that. So I actually
lay it on.
I went to college because I wanted to be a teacher initially. I didn't even think about acting. I loved movies. I loved literature, but never crossed my mind to be an actor because I didn't know if I had it.
You could hear it in your voice. You could. Were you going to be an English teacher?
I probably was going to either be an English teacher or a history teacher.
Did you say like a Boy Meets World line, like Mr. Matthews, go to the principal's office now?
Mr. Matthews, go to the principal's office now.
Perfect. Maybe with a little bit more intensity at the end of the sentence, like to start it up and be like, Mr. Matthews, go to the principal's office right now. See, I can't do it because I look like I'm fucking,
No, you're fine. Mr. Matthews, go to the principal's office right now.
Yeah. That'll work. It kind of works. Yeah.
It's all about the eyes.
Yeah.
It is about the. I mean, if he was dressed and you have the classroom set up, and then you would actually have to have him play off of the kid. Yeah, the kid would need to have lines onto it.
Yeah, also too, you got to practice that, and because
you want something to sound natural. I mean, Jesus Lord, we had to do. Tony saw exactly how specific I like things during the commercial. 10 minutes long, but you would never know it of how many takes we did. Just like, all right, let's run it again. Let's run it again from the top.
And you could deliver that line so many ways, like Mr. Matthews.
The audio. Now, this is a fun fact about Tony. Holy shit. The audio Tony had, right? Where I'm editing the thing. Then the audio in Tony's voice.
The decibel level.
Going through the decibel levels were like 95% identical, dude. And I'm thinking to myself, man, every time, same inflection, over and over, and he's got like I mean, it might be a hair off on the one. I'm thinking to myself, you gotta be. I could literally take the decibels from his voice in the one and put it over his fucking lips in the other one. You can't tell the difference at all.
What a story, Kevin. I'm sorry, I had to do it. I watched The Disaster Artist with my movie group last night. I just had to do that. I'm sorry, it was just too funny.
I didn't hear what he said.
What a story, Kevin.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi. I love the behind the story of that movie. The Room. Oh, hello, puppy. Oh, hello. You're my favorite customer. Whoa. Whoa.
Like,
no tattoos? You guys are happy with that?
Yeah, it's just like keep the change. Hey, doggy.
Hey, doggy.
It's like, what the fuck?
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Oh, hi, Mark.
That movie is an enigma.
That movie is the absence of human nature. That is almost like
our show is an enigma.
I tell you what, that the for him to say, "Oh yeah, we got it on the first take every time." What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
There's no need to tape anymore.
It's almost like a parasite got into his head, and he's like, "So we're bigger movie stars now." It's almost like before Barat was a person, there was this dude.
Oh my God, Borat is freaking
Tommy Wiseau. Oh my God, I mean, Tommy Wiseau to play the Joker would have been better, in my opinion, than Joaquin Phoenix. Because Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal was more of a character study of a character that never existed in the Batman world at all. Like, for example's sake, medication
Are we
for
gonna go
psych.
into the Batman realm again?
Don't go into the Batman realm.
All
we
right,
are
all right,
steering
no
clear
Batman.
of that. I'm sticking by what I say. I'd rather
We
Tommy Wiseau rather
going
than
to
Joaquin
kill
Phoenix.
The Batman.
Heath Ledger, perfect, awesome. Wiseau, do it up. Do it up. Here's Wiseau as Joaquin Phoenix's character, where he's on Robert De Niro's little show, or he tells a fucking joke, but in Tommy Wiseau fashion. Who tells that joke better, by the way? Tommy Wiseau or Joaquin Phoenix? I'll take the awkwardness, the true awkwardness of Tommy Wiseau over the acted, fucking prepared version of it with Joaquin Phoenix, where he's playing at best. What the fuck? Who did I compare?
There should have been a Nick Cage Batman.
I would have bought into that
I
idea.
Watched that.
Yeah,
I
let's
would
watch it.
watch that.
I know.
Honestly. Because no,
Could you imagine that Nick Cage is Batman and Nick Weidel is the Joker?
I'm telling you, like in alternate realities, you gotta wonder what would it be like if that was a thing. What would it be like? You gotta think about it.
It'd be
You just
Yeah.
gotta think about it.
He had that who's that Hitchcock character from
what do you call it? Norman Bates.
Norman, yeah. So Joaquin Phoenix had that Norman Bates feel to his Joker,
Yeah, he
where
did.
because he's got the mother thing going on, and he's very attached to that situation, and then he's got this. So, I'm gonna find out who my real father is. So I'm thinking to myself, this is terrible. All of this is bad right now. And the only thing that's kind of making it relatable for kids that are watching it is them saying, oh, yeah, his stand-up thing went viral. And that word didn't exist in probably the 70s or 80s or late 60s, that it was, ambiguously set in to the Ville. By the way, Robert De Niro, you weren't even needed. You were not needed in that movie. There's not a chance. I swear, Ulrich, Robert De Niro probably walked onto that set and said, hey, I'm here. And they're like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm going to play one of the
just
roles.
hung out. I was going for coffee and I met.
I
my
read for
friend
this
here.
one. I want this role. And they're like, okay, cool. We got Robert De Niro now. And they're like, did he read for it? No, we got Robert De Niro. It's like, do we need him? I mean, not really, but we're not going to say no to Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
Probably
and he's going to do it for the cheap.
I gotta
You were-
say one thing. I think Robert De Niro is a really amazing, just character actor in general. I really
Oh, of
do.
course. And nobody's knocking his acting prowess. Nobody's
no,
acting.
I know
I'll
you-
give him
ability.
credit for all the roles except that one. No problem.
It's just
Um,
interesting because it's like you just didn't expect also to Robert De Niro to be in that film. Because it's just the notion. It's just like, okay, when you hear Robert De Niro's in it, I was like, oh, awesome. Who's he playing? He's playing a late night personality.
Talk show host. Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, interesting. And then you would love to know how it ties in.
What I
They
would love
tie in.
Robert De Niro to play in that movie is the guy that throws the guy that
You would have loved them not to play in that movie.
I would have loved him not to be a talk show host. All right, like if you got Robert De Niro, at least make him an old mafioso kind of guy in the goddamn movie, right?
Or even like a rogue cop or something.
Something in that realm, but don't give me stand-up comedy Robert De Niro kind of guy.
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like the genericness of the dialogue that his character had could have been pulled off by anybody. That's why it wasn't really needed. You could have put John Henson from fucking Talk Soup in there, which was Wish version of Jim Carrey. If everybody knows what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, I know.
So you could have thrown him in that same scenario and no one would blink an eye and be like, why isn't Robert De Niro playing the talk show host?
You literally could have
No one
thrown
ever
in Jim
asked that
Carrey.
question. No one ever screamed, why doesn't Robert De Niro play a comedian more? Doesn't happen. It never fucking happens. And there's reason for it, is because it doesn't need to happen. But yeah, it did have that Norman Bates kind of feel.
I mean,
And then-
is it the Fockers really?
well, and then the movie just pulled a Fight Club on everybody, where they said, oh no, that person he's been hanging out with, that was his imagination, and maybe this whole thing was. Where it's just like, oh great, so maybe I just fucking wasted my time with this whole entire movie. This has nothing to do with Batman. This is basically just veered off into a money grab. And you know what? Then me and Tony had to discuss on many podcasts another money grab with the Harley Quinn bullshit.
You know what I
knew they
call
were going
that?
to do it.
it's a play on a mythos that pretty much really turns into a psychological thriller more than anything.
Yeah,
It's
they
a psychological thriller. Think about it, because it's like it's this man's fantasy. In his fantasy, he's the Joker in the Batman universe. Okay, interesting. That's actually kind of interesting. It's like, but it's deceiving in a way because people think, oh no, Batman automatically, but then you realize, no, it's not really Batman. It's just a psychotic guy's fever dream.
Oh yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even from that perspective, it is kind of tricking the audience, and it does kind
It's
of
an M.
throw some
Night
enlightening
Shyamalan
things on there.
minus the bad ending.
But that
Exactly.
does not, Ehrlich, that does not excuse them for playing the song "That's Life" five separate times in full length by Frank Sinatra. Not just part of the song, all of the
whole
song.
thing.
5 times. Just when you think it's over, they're like, hey, what should we roll the credits to? Oh, God. Spin that wheel one more time, guys. That's Life, Frank Sinatra. Press the play button, and we'll call it a wrap.
You know what's really interesting about that movie? What I really, really find interesting is that you don't expect it to be that kind of movie. And then when you see it, it's like, okay, as a set piece, yeah, it definitely stretches your brain a little bit. But in the same token, you're like, I just wish there was more context.
More substance. Needs
Yeah.
more substance.
Yeah, it does a lot of borrowing from different it takes the character
folklore, from the folklore, of course.
Yeah, it takes the
an
character.
homage.
Yeah, it takes the character, the Joker, so that way it guarantees itself some money, right? DC says, we got money, boom, throw the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is in, throw some teaser things out there, some leaked footage or whatever the hell. And then from that point, they start borrowing from other entities that DC and Warner Brothers probably also own, so that way no one wants to get a lawsuit on them. I mean, it was just as much as it was hyped up, I can give it probably a 5 out of 10. Dead average movie. Nothing outstanding about it. Nothing life-changing about the damn thing.
Ulric, we are going to wrap up this show, though. However, much like the Joker, we're going to leave it on a good note.
Well, that's life, isn't it?
That's life.
Yes, life.
Play the music, Tony.
I guess my final question, with the state of Hollywood and the way that it is, how do you feel about original movies or definitely sequels that have been done in Hollywood? Have you think that it's been done to death?
Well, here's my thing. I think there's always room to tell more elaborate and more in-depth stories that would spark the imagination or even just the enthusiasm of the audiences that love to be entertained and hear these stories to begin with. Like my one colleague who made Guardian Devil says, he has a slogan, for better or for worse, he does say, tell the story. And I can appreciate that, because here's the thing about it. We are all storytellers at the end of the day, whether it be writing a book, a manga, a comic book, a novel, writing a script for a film or a TV show or whatever, or even a YouTube original. We're telling
even podcasting. Even podcasting. We're telling a story right now. The story is about you guys as filmmakers and about me as a person, as an actor, and as who I am as a human being. And the thing is that I always think that there's room for new and improve things to just explore. There's just new venues. Of course.
Of course, you can't always be 100% original. It's impossible. There's just so many variations of an idea you can come up with. I mean, right now, I might as well just tell you this. I am working on my own personal labor of love. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, but I hope to God I do. At least I can pitch it to someone in the film industry. I'm glad I met you guys, because you guys are filmmakers, and I'm like, great. that's somebody else I can reach out and they'll know about me and I can explain to them what my aspirations are, what my dreams, what my goals are. And if I even get to work with you guys, that would be a joy. You guys are pleasant. You guys are funny.
I'd be very open to it, man. You got a face that's meant for the cameras right there. Honestly, it's a good face.
Yeah, why wouldn't I want to work with you? You guys are awesome. And the thing is that there's this one character from history that I want to do. I showed a picture of this wrestler to someone because, as you know, I'm a martial arts enthusiast. And they looked at it and they went, Ulric. I said, what? You know something? Let me see your face. Like, what? Your face like that. It's like, if you grew a mustache and you cut your hair shorter, you look like this guy. I'm like, really? I like this guy. This guy's an inspiration to me. Like, you look like him. And I looked at him again, and then I looked at my face in the mirror. I'm like, oh wow, I do kind of look like.
Who is this famous wrestler, Ulric?
Gama Pelwan.
Oh shit, I could see it now. Yeah.
Gama Pelwan. Gama.
You don't have as many wrinkles though.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, true. you could fix that with makeup if you really wanted to.
You could do it with makeup, you know.
You can't do it with makeup. You can't fucking like Johnny Depp when he played what's his face, Whitey Bulger. That did not look right.
No, that it was wrong. Ulric, if people were gonna look for you, sir. Ulric, if people were gonna look for you, how would they find you, sir?
If they wanted to find me, you know, just by a whim of luck. You know, I would just say, look for me on YouTube, friend me on Facebook, you know.
You have streaming stuff. You have movies online.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me. I mean, if you look hard enough, you can find just almost about anything. You can find the movies if you look hard enough for them. You're gonna find them. Like I've looked at movies over and over again, and then I started finding new things that I didn't see before. You'll find them if you look hard enough for it. It's just like looking for a treasure chest. If you look hard enough in the right areas and look at the clues carefully, you will find it.
You know what you can find in a good treasure chest?
What?
The Podguyz podcast.
Yes, you
Marky,
can.
Where can you find us on the lovely treasure chest of life?
Well, you can find us on just about every single major streaming platform, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast. We're on what?
iTunes. Damn you, Sparky.
The one and only
iTunes. We're on iTunes now also.
Google, Spotify, you know, whatever.
Hit the note, right on the note.
All of the things.
All of the things.
All the stuff.
Of course, if you need to send us hate mail.
Oh, yes, you can send us our hate mail to the podguyzpodcast@gmail.com.
The podguyzpodcast@gmail.com.
And then also, don't forget.
Yeah, you can also
people from merchbooth.com.
You can buy a Podguyz podcast t-shirt from merchbooth.com and help out with the look great. Have the Podguyz podcast t-shirt create a miracle in your life or sometimes a side effect in your life. Pending on, you know, it's a mixed bag. Some people it's creating miracles for, others it's creating weird side effects. Our commercial we'll start shooting the commercial for next week, but we're gonna, you know, draw it up tomorrow, and me and Tony are gonna go out for some sushi. Tony will not get poisoned this time because we'll go somewhere else. Yeah.
Oh man, I had the horriblest sushi last time.
Horrible. So bad. You're like, hey, this is poison. She's like, hop, hop, hop. Yes, you're right.
You're right. That doesn't taste right.
No gas station sushi. It looks sketchy.
Yeah.
Guys, we are the Podguyz podcast. Tune in every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. Sparky?
Can I drop a spoiler for next week's show?
Ooh.
Spoiler for next week's show.
I'm ready.
I'm going to drop a spoiler for next week's show.
Ooh, Ooh, you want extra hot sauce?
Oh my God. Well, if you're wondering what that picture means, that's probably gonna be our lead-off story for next week's show.
I don't know. We may have a director on next week, so I'm actually working some fantastic magic for a local horror movie going on right now called Contagion, I believe it's called.
Ooh, sounds very tempting. It sounds very appetizing.
Very, very, very. So, guys, tune in next week. I'm Tony Cass.
Kevin Neary here.
Of course, the ever-loving Picasso, the master of hot wings himself. The double dipper. Ulric, thank you very much for coming on the show, sir. We appreciate your time and energy. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night, guys. Make sure you share, like, send stars below.